on the height of this bogie frame and the height that the bottom of it is off the ground, the position in the y-axis should be 0.7125. So I'm just going to add that in now. And it actually looks pretty good, so we'll do that to the other one. I'll bring it over so you can. Now we just need to position them. I'm going to align both these pieces up to 0 on the z-axis. Go into the properties as usual, give them a z of 0, both. And we're starting to get some form of assemblage here. When we start getting into the nitty-gritty of these positionings and measurements and scaling, it's probably best to use a spreadsheet. I'm just using Microsoft Works that came with my laptop, and any spreadsheet will be handy. Even OpenOffice.org provides a great free Office suite. What I've done for starters, we'll probably use this a lot more, but just to start with, I can enter a number in this column here and have it displayed at half its value in the other column, and that's just simply a formula like this. I've just put the first column divided by 2, and then I've just dragged it and filled it, so I've got a bit of working space here. I can add a few numbers, and the main reason why halving the value is important and helpful is because the origins of most of the objects we're going to work with are central, and to move them anywhere we need to overcome that distance to find out where that edge would be. So if there's a cube that's 2 by 2 by 2 and you need to move it across 3 meters, you first have to find out what half of its width is to find out the edge where that will be, which is pretty easy when it's 2 by 2 by 2. But when we're working with measurements like this, it gets difficult just to add 2 things together. So I'm going to be referring to this without flicking back to it. I'll just take my word for it that I've worked out the measurements, and you'll get my drift. How do we find the position for the rightmost bogey? Well, it's pretty simple. Basically, I'm just finding out the dimensions of the bogey itself and the dimensions of the wheel set. Now, up here in my spreadsheet, I've got some full measurements, and I've got what they are halved, and then I'm just putting those values into this column here to get the final result down the bottom here. Now, first of all, we need half the width of the bogey frame, which is 0.04 meters. Then half the width of the wheel set themselves, which is 0.79, and then our tolerance, and add those together to give us 0.8425. That'll give us the X position for the bogies. So we'll add 0.8425 to the bogey position. On the bogey, we want to move and change in the X position, in the group position, to 0.8425. Hit OK. Moved over there, and it looks about right. Well, it looks exactly right. And everything's okay. Now all we need to do to move the other one is to put the same measurement but make it a negative, because it's going to go on the other side of the 0, which is down here. This is the positive side, obviously, and then anything past 0 is going to be into the negatives. So I'm just doing this And applying the same measurement but in a negative to the other side should give us the same position on the other side, which would send a negative point, negative 0.43. Now that we have both the bogie frames in the right position, as far as relationship to each other and the ground goes, we're going to make them into one object, and we do that by selecting one. Click on the object merge button over on the right here. The bogie frame, they become one object. And you can tell by the bounding box surrounding both of the bogie frames now. All that needs to be done to get this whole bogie assembly finished is to move the bogie frame down the Z-axis so that it's centered over the center wheel. And that's easy enough because we just need to find the center position of this wheel, which happens to be 2.09, and add that to the position of the Z position of our bogie. 2.09. There you have it. So that was 2.01. And that's it. Right, I'm going to move very quick now and lay out the front bogies. And I'm just going to do it all in one go, so just watch carefully what I do. And if it's basically just working on the measurements off the plans that I have, and we're going to work by copying another wheel set. Starters, Control C, Control V, pasting it, then positioning it 0 on the X. The Y position will be 0.525, 11.735, which is the distance between the two center wheels. We have an X position of 0, a Y of 0.525, and a Z of 11.735. Now that's the center wheel, and using that information we can make a copy of the bogies. Control C, Control V, set up the properties, 0 on the X, the height, we'll leave that for now because it's just going to copy the other one, and the Z again 11.735.